It was a perfect Sunday in Harmony Creek, the kind of day that felt untouched by time or trouble. The town seemed to bask in a gentle peace, as if the world outside its borders had faded away. The sun lingered above, casting a golden warmth over quiet streets and rows of neat houses. Every window reflected the light, and the gentle hum of summer filled the air. The air carried the scent of freshly cut grass, mingling with the distant laughter of children playing tag and riding bikes. It was a melody of summer, familiar and comforting. Neighbors leaned over fences, sharing stories and smiles, exchanging garden tips and weekend plans. These simple joys were the heartbeat of Harmony Creek. In this town, trust was the norm, doors left unlocked, kids free to roam from yard to yard, laughter echoing down the block. Safety was a given, not a question. The Miller family embodied this peace. Jim and Sarah, lifelong residents, grilling in their backyard while Lily and Tom played fetch with Buddy, their golden retriever. Their laughter blended with the sizzle of the grill. The aroma of burgers drifted through the air, mixing with the sweet scent of blooming azaleas. It was a snapshot of happiness, a moment that felt like it could last forever. As dusk fell, families gathered indoors, porch lights flickered on, and a gentle quiet wrapped the town in a soft embrace. The world seemed to slow, settling into a peaceful rhythm. But as the night deepened, a subtle unease crept in. Something unseen, moving quietly beneath the surface of this perfect day. A darkness no one expected, slipping silently between the houses and under the cover of night. The silence that followed was heavy, unsettling. A silence that would change Harmony Creek forever, leaving questions in its wake. And in the end, no one saw it coming, not on a day that had seemed so perfect. Monday morning, something was wrong on Elm Street. The Miller house was silent, the newspaper untouched. Sarah Miller missed work, unheard of. Calls went unanswered. Mrs. Gable, their neighbor, noticed the children's bikes still in the yard. She knocked, called out, no response. Peering through the window, she saw chaos. A lamp knocked over, a shattered frame. She called the police. Chief Brody arrived, finding the back door ajar. Inside, horror replaced peace. News spread like wildfire. Sirens, yellow tape, and fear descended. The town's heart was broken. Harmony Creek's innocence was gone. Fear, once a stranger, now lived on Elm Street. Nothing would ever be the same. Shock rippled through Harmony Creek. Neighbors gathered, faces pale, hands trembling. The Millers weren't strangers, they were friends, coaches, librarians, part of every family's life. Grief and fear mingled. Parents clung to children, trust evaporated overnight. Doors were locked, security lights installed, playgrounds emptied. The town held its breath, waiting for answers. At a packed town meeting, Chief Brody promised justice, but suspicion lingered. The killer could be anyone, maybe even someone in the room. Harmony Creek's unity was fractured. The sense of safety was gone. Every neighbor became a potential suspect. The community's innocence had vanished. Fear shadowed every conversation. The town's heartbeat was now anxious and uncertain. Harmony Creek would never be the same. The investigation began, overwhelming the small police force. State detectives scoured the Miller house for clues, fingerprints, fibers, anything. No forced entry. Maybe the Millers knew their killer, or maybe a door was left unlocked. Interviews led nowhere. No enemies, no suspicious strangers. The killer left no trace, no DNA, no witnesses. Weeks passed, leads dried up, and the case grew cold. The yellow tape came down, but fear lingered. Chief Brody obsessed over the files, refusing to give up. The town remained haunted by the unsolved crime. The Miller house stood as a grim reminder. The sense of safety was shattered. The ghost had vanished, but its shadow remained. Harmony Creek waited, desperate for answers. Hope returned with a tiny clue, something so small it could have easily been missed. In the dim light of the evidence room, a gloved hand paused over a single, overlooked object. It was a moment that changed everything. a flicker of possibility in a case that had seemed hopeless for weeks. Officer Miller, determined not to let any detail slip by, re-examined every photograph from the night of the crime. In one image, he noticed a small, dark object near the shattered frame, something that hadn't been cataloged before. It wasn't a button, as first assumed. Instead, it was a custom-made cufflink, carved from dark wood and engraved with a single elegant W. The craftsmanship was unmistakable. This was no ordinary accessory. For the first time, the detectives held evidence that didn't belong to the Miller family. It was a breakthrough, something that pointed to an outsider, a new direction for the investigation. The search began in earnest. Detectives visited every jeweler, every artisan, and followed every possible lead, determined to trace the origin of the mysterious cufflink. Weeks passed, and with each day, hope seemed to fade a little more. Then, unexpectedly, a retired jeweler watching the evening news recognized the cufflink's unique design. He reached out to the police, his voice trembling with certainty. He explained that he'd crafted the cufflink years ago for a young, ambitious salesman named William Parker. The memory was clear. Such a commission was rare. Parker had once lived in Harmony Creek, moving from door to door, selling home security systems to families in the quiet suburb. He was remembered by many, but had vanished from the area months before. It turned out Parker had been inside the Miller house. With this revelation, the investigation shifted focus, and the detectives felt a renewed sense of purpose. The single thread of hope grew stronger, weaving together the scattered pieces of the puzzle. The team pressed on, driven by the possibility of finally solving the case. The town braced for answers, holding its breath as rumors spread and tension mounted. Everyone wanted to know the truth behind the Miller case. Now, the hunt was no longer for a faceless ghost, but for a man with a name. A man who might finally bring closure to Harmony Creek. William Parker's name unlocked the case, sending a chill through the investigation team. For weeks, detectives had been chasing shadows, but now, with Parker's identity revealed, the pieces began to fall into place. He'd lived quietly in Harmony Creek, blending in as a friendly neighborhood salesman. Parker sold security systems door to door, ironically, promising safety to the very people he would later terrify. His regular route included Elm Street, where he first encountered Sarah Miller. Parker's co-workers remembered him as odd, even unsettling. He was fired for disturbing behavior. His obsession with certain clients had raised red flags long before the police ever knocked on his door. When police searched his cramped apartment, they uncovered a chilling shrine. Walls plastered with secret photographs, notes, and mementos. Among them was a photo of Sarah Miller, confirming their worst fears. The final piece of the puzzle, a matching ornate cufflink, was found hidden in his jewelry box, linking him directly to the crime scene. Confronted with mounting evidence, Parker's composure cracked. Under the harsh lights of the interrogation room, he finally confessed to everything. He admitted he'd become obsessed with Sarah after she politely declined his sales pitch. That single moment had ignited a dangerous fixation that spiraled out of control. On that fateful Sunday night, Parker prowled the neighborhood and discovered Sarah's back door was unlocked, a chance he couldn't resist. He claimed he only meant to watch from the shadows, but his obsession overwhelmed him. What began as stalking quickly escalated, and he lost control of his actions. The quiet, unassuming salesman was, in truth, the monster the town had whispered about. His cold, emotionless eyes betrayed the darkness within. Parker was arrested on the spot, his guilt undeniable. The evidence was overwhelming, and the community's fear finally had a name. Harmony Creek finally had a face for its nightmare. The town could breathe again, knowing justice was within reach and their long ordeal was coming to an end. Parker's trial brought closure, but not true peace. The courtroom overflowed with townspeople, all seeking answers and some hoping for healing. The verdict was swift: guilty, sentenced to life in prison. Justice was served, but the Millers themselves were gone forever. Harmony Creek was forever changed by what happened. Doors now locked, trust replaced by caution and quiet fear. The Miller house stood empty, a sad and silent landmark. Children whispered as they passed, the shadow still lingering there. The town's memory split before and after the Millers' tragedy. Harmony Creek looked the same, but its heart was deeply scarred. The lesson was harsh. Evil can hide anywhere, even here. Innocence, once lost, cannot ever truly be reclaimed. And now, every night, the people of Harmony Creek quietly lock their doors.